All right, looks like we're live. Thursday, April 7th. It is 4:15, and I'm excited to get the April series kicked off. And what we're going to talk about this month is Overwhelm. Yeah, this one here. I think I talked to a lot of people, and this is men, women. Doesn't matter at age group even. Like you're always some time in your life you're going to feel overwhelmed, and it kind of goes in ebbs and flows, right? So before I get really started, I kind of want to make sure that this thing is fired up and that we're starting to see some people come on. Facebook's being a little weird, and the video is taking a little bit of time to start up, but you know what? We'll get there. It'll happen, right? Just want to know if anyone's out there watching live. If anyone of you guys caught my March series on burnout, what did you think? Did you guys go through the what you have to say about it? Post down below. And like I said, we'll be getting going here for the April series as long as I know that Facebook is working. Uh, Let me just double check. We're going to see what's going on here. Okay, good. All right, so Overwhelm. And I'm going to start off by highlighting. Hold on a quick second. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to start off by highlighting what is overwhelm. Like, what do we think when we're feeling overwhelmed, right? Overwhelm, I think, and the way I define it, is that we just have so much to do or too much to do in too little time, right? And it kind of goes like this. How many of us, whenever we meet up with a friend or someone we knew, we ask them, how are you doing? And everyone's like, oh, good. Can't complain. And you're like, oh, how's work? Busy. How's life? Busy. That is the default response to everything. I'm busy, right? And then you're like, when you dig deeper a little bit, and you ask somebody, well, doing what? What are you busy doing? Well, working long hours, driving the kids around to all their activities, don't have time to do anything else, and one of the things I always ask is, so are you doing anything fun these days? And the most of the time, the response I get is this: who has time for that? I don't have time for that. There's no room in my schedule to go and have fun. And this is kind of where we start to see that imbalance happen. And I know I brought up an imbalance in the in the burnout series, and it definitely shows up here in the overwhelm series as well. So, when we think of overwhelm, that it's a result of having too many things on our plate, right? It's just taking on too much. I think that the solution is give me more time, right? I think we all thought if I just had more time, if I didn't have to commute to work, if I didn't have to work 8 hours, if my kids didn't have all the activities, I wouldn't be overwhelmed. I wouldn't feel this pressure to get everything done. So our solution is just give me more time. One thing I noticed is that COVID was the biggest experiment we ever had in my generation about giving us more time. Almost all of us were allowed to stay at home, and those of us who were fortunate enough not to be sick and to have our jobs and to keep going with those things, we were now afforded a lot more time, right? But how many people felt less overwhelmed during the first 6 months of the lockdown? I think everyone felt about the same as they did before. And if you look now, how is your situation different than what it was then, right? What I was doing during COVID was learning all of these tools, learning all these techniques, learning how to manage overwhelm, and I was able to use that time really effectively. I got certified, started my coaching business. I had become a stay-at-home dad, and I know that's resonates with a lot of my stay-at-home dad friends out here on the internet. And then taking on more responsibilities, but then I also learned to find time to get some hobbies, right? I found time to bake sourdough, which I don't do anymore, play guitar, which I do badly. I joined a local tennis club, I was able to use the tools that I've learned to create time in my schedule so that I could do all of the things that I wanted to do, you know. And that doesn't mean that I figured it all out, you know, because I don't think overwhelm works that way. I think overwhelm is periodic. It's like waves. You figure everything out, you think that you're going great, and just like life is 50-50, something gets thrown at you will throw you off balance, right? And but overwhelm is when we're in that constant state of busy, when we're on that hamster wheel and we're feeling that pressure just to keep going, right? And for some reason, everyone keeps ratcheting up the speed, and before you know it, you're flat out running. Boom, you slack your face, and you end up in burnout, right? So one of the questions I would have right now is how many of you are right about the same place you were at or before the pandemic in your feeling of overwhelm, right? That's a question that I would definitely like everyone to see post down below. Right now, I can't really see any of the comments because it's being weird. Oh, great, Matt, I got you off my phone. So Matt's telling me that we're live. Perfect, love it. So comment below if you feel that you're better positioned to handle your overwhelm today than you were before the pandemic, you know? And what I learned from this, and as I observed it and as I like worked on it myself, is that it's not the lack of time that causes our burnout. And I repeat that again. It's not the lack of time that causes our burnout, right? And I'm going to dive right now into the 3 tips, the 3 points that I have, the 3 conditions that lead us to overwhelm. And it's not time. Time is finite. You only have 24 hours in a day. It's a pie, just like this. It's how do you want to carve up the pie, right? So I'm going to go over kind of the number 1 thing to dive right into it, why we get into overwhelm. Number 1, priorities. Priorities. I always say this, and I've looked to see if anyone else has said this. So if somebody can, you know, fact check me, but I've been saying this for years. If everything is a priority, nothing is. Okay? So when we take on all the responsibilities, all of the things, right? We're basically saying that I'm treating taking care of my kids on the same level as going and getting a bottle of milk. You know, if ever we don't put things into a hierarchy of what is important to us. Warren Buffett has a great exercise that I kind of stole a little bit. And he always said that if you want to know what your priorities are, and you write out, actually, if you want to achieve your goals, he kind of says you write out 25 things that you want to accomplish, narrow it down to the top 5 things you want to do the most, and then you toss the rest, right? And it's basically saying we have to focus, we have to learn constraint, and we have to prioritize. And this is what I would recommend. This is kind of step 1 is priority, right? Go through what is it that you're doing in a week? What is it that you're doing in a day? And really highlight what's the important stuff, what's going to move the needle, and what isn't, right? So for, you know, really go out right now. This is something you can do in action and ask yourself, why are you doing it, right? What is the importance of doing this task? And really check in, right? Number 2, it's a word my kids like a lot. No, right? I think this is like one of the first words we learn as kids. Uh, who watches wrestling? You know, there's always the bad guy. Say hello to the bad guy. I remember Razor Ramon used to say that. We don't want to, saying no in our minds makes us the bad guy, right? But I found that it's the opposite. Saying yes to everything in the short term makes you feel like you're pleasing everyone, that you're going to do everything. In the long term, however, it builds resentment, it creates false pressure, and it basically turns you into a version of yourself that you do not want to become, right? That's when you enter the rage state, the resentment, the bitterness. And in order to get all the things done that you said yes to, you will create a path of destruction to get there, right? So what's the point in winning the race when you look behind it, everything is a mess, everything is a disaster, right? Saying no is here to protect you. No is your best friend, right? If there's something you don't want to do, say no. If it's not high on your priority list, say no. You know, if somebody, and this is something it was kind of the aha moment, the light bulb in my head. If somebody asks you to do something and it's not life or death, you already know it's not a priority for them. Right? Matt, I know that you're watching. I just want to know, like, does that resonate with you? You know, Grace, Sloan, if you guys are watching live too, like, isn't we automatically know it's not a priority for them. So you have to gauge whether or not it's a priority for you. And, you know, I know I didn't make any points today from my wife because she came up and asked me to do something. And I was like, no, I don't want to. Doesn't fit into my schedule. I know it'll only take 30 seconds, but it wasn't my priority. It wasn't what I was focused on today. It wasn't what was important to me. And sometimes we do things for our spouses because they are important to us. We do things for our kids because they are important to us. But check in with yourself. Every single thing you say yes to, you're going to have to say no to something else. And usually that's us. We usually put ourselves last. Okay? That contributes to that feeling of overwhelm. Of being overwhelmed. And the third one is a great one, and I love this one, is perfection. Right? Perfection. We try to do everything perfectly, right? And the true enemy, in my opinion, of productivity is perfection, right? It's one of those. I have a joke. I love this joke. What do you call someone who gets a C in medical school? Doctor, right? How many times have you asked your doctor, hey, what were your grades like? Were you an A student? Were you on the honor of the dean's list? You know, or beta cum laude? No. When you're bleeding, you just want someone who's there to help you. And you're okay just getting it done, like getting it taken care of. And this is the case with a lot of what we do. We make everything a priority. We don't say no to anything. And then we try to do everything perfectly. Right? And this perfection has been something that's instilled to us from a very, very young age. Like this is trained into us. I know I heard from my father, where's the other 5%? Right? And I can guess there's a lot of those kind of stories all around here. And tell me if that resonates with you guys, because that's my story. Where's the other 5%? And in school, we get reiterated with grades. Sports, only the best can win. You know, we start to have this thought of, I'm not good enough. I have to do more. I have to please everybody. And that's what gets us in this state of overwhelm, right? And what goes hand in hand with perfectionism is procrastination. So perfectionism leads to procrastination. Because if we're not certain that we can produce a 100% product, we sit on it. And we sit and we spin and we think. And then we create all the reasons why the stuff that we do isn't good enough. Right? And what does that do? That leads us back into the cycle. And this overwhelm has nothing to do with time. It has everything to do with this mindset of lack of priorities, not protecting yourself, and trying to do everything right. Let me know if that resonates down below, guys. I'm really, this is the fundamental underneath the high-level symptoms. This is the reason why everyone out there is feeling overwhelmed right now. And one of my, one of my favorite quotes as it pertains to procrastination, and I love this quote. It's even on my website. Is from the Roman philosopher and statesman Cicero, that says, "More is lost through indecision than wrong decision. Indecision is the thief of opportunity. It will steal you blind." So think about that. More is lost through sitting in indecision than making a bad decision, right? And that's what happens here. And so when we sit and we stew, we're not executing on the rest of what we want to do, right? And so I really want to leave everyone with a challenge this week that is quick, actionable, effective, and repeatable. This is a tool I developed. I'm calling it my Ultimate Dad's Playbook for Overwhelm. Okay? This playbook is basically a 15-minute exercise. So for everybody who's too busy to live, right? Too busy to do anything extra, kick out something that takes 15 minutes in your day. It could be scrolling on the internet. It could be the very long, number 2 that you're going to take. Grab this playbook from my website. I have the link below, and start. It's going to help you prioritize. Like I talked before, William Buffett says your top 5 things, right? What are your top 5 things you're going to prioritize in your day, in your week, in your month? Start thinking about those things, right? And then start to dissolve what's preventing you from executing those things. And how can you frame your day to solve a problem and get through this, right? So set your priorities, focus on those, and anything else that isn't a priority, say no to. Maybe that should be the second challenge. Can you say no? Right? And just live with that a little bit. Free yourself up. So if you feel like this isn't enough to get started, I can help you there. I can definitely I'd love to sit with you one-on-one just to talk, to see where I can help you to create clarity on what you need, right? What you need to change, what you need to implement. If there are any tools that I have that can help you to get to the next stage. I think that all of us, when we're in this state that we need help, one more thing is just too much, right? And unfortunately, you have to do one more thing to get yourself out of it, because what you're doing right now isn't working. And could start with the playbook. That's a great place to start. Could start with a call, getting on a call with me or somebody else, just to start getting the wheels turning so that you can get from here to where you want to be, okay? So I'm going to leave you with that today, guys. I really appreciate everyone who's watching, who's commenting below. If you're watching on the replay, definitely type in something, replay, questions. If you have anything else, I encourage you to download the playbook. It will help you to prioritize. It'll help you to set you on the path to freeing up some time and getting out of this feeling of overwhelm. And I guess objective number 2, what are you going to say no to? And I'm going to post that up on tomorrow, and I'm going to see who can answer. What's one thing you're going to start saying no to in your life to get back some time for yourself? All right. Well, I hope everyone is really well this week. I can't wait for next week, where I'm going to dive deeper into priorities. I'm going to have another couple exercises and thoughts around creating priorities and really focusing on the things that matter. If there's anything else that you guys want me to elaborate on, definitely comment below, and I'll try to get to those as well. All right? So take care, and I can't wait to see all you soon. Bye.